recording. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for attending this webinar about the 1.6 update for the Victor Reader Stream 3. My name is Mathieu Paquette. I am the product manager for the Victor Reader Stream. I am based in Quebec, Canada. My main language is French, hence the tinge of an accent you might hear. And I am joined here today by a special guest. We have Dominic Labbé, who's with us, who's I'm going to say the father of the stream. Dominic, you want to say hi?
Hello, everyone. Very happy to be here and very happy to see familiar name on the list and new people that I'm not familiar with. Thanks, everyone, for coming. We're pretty happy about this release.
All right. So today we're going to go through what the new update brings. So in terms of new features and in terms of some bug fixes, and then we're going to have a small demonstration by our colleague Rachel, who wanted to be with us, but unfortunately she's traveling this week. So she did pre-record a small 10-minute long demonstration about some of the new features. And afterwards, we're going to take questions as always. I know a lot of you have either questions or suggestions, things of that nature. In the interest of full transparency, I will say that this meeting will be at maximum an hour and a half, this webinar, because around 6:30 Eastern time, I have to leave. So let's get going. So when we sat down, Dominic and I and the rest of the team, to discuss the Victor Reader Stream 1.6 version, we generally try to find a theme to build around. And for 1.6, the theme was control. So we wanted to improve the user experience as we always do, but we wanted to give you guys more control over what you can do with the Victor Reader Stream. One of the big things that a lot of people were talking about is the fact that over time we've added more and more applications to the stream. So one of the big pain point was the fact that the rotation key with the number one, which are some of you call the hamster wheel, so pressing the one key for rotation to go through the applications, was getting sometimes a bit tedious. So we did two improvements in that regard. So the first one is the ability to hide applications. So you can now go into the settings menu and decide which apps you want to hide. So for example, and I think the best example for this would be with TuneIn Radio and the Internet Radio. So a lot of you will only use one or the other. Some people use both, and that's perfectly fine. But let's say that you don't use the Internet Radio anymore because you really like the TuneIn application that we've introduced a few updates ago. So you can go to your settings menu and decide to disable the internet radio. And at that point, when you do the rotation on the one key, the internet radio will no longer show up. You can hide any application that you'd like to hide on the online menu. Uh, the only exception is for any application that has configuration, like for example, NLS Bard, Bookshare, or a Daisy Online service. You cannot hide those, but you can remove them from the rotation by simply removing your credentials, and they will no longer show up. The second thing that we've decided to do, and this was a little bit based off of the Brilliant devices that I know a lot of you love and use, is to have a list mode to use your applications. So rather than having the one key do a rotation between all of the apps, you can now, if you enable it, because it's disabled by default, but if you enable the list mode, you can press the one key and it's going to open up a menu that has all of your applications that you can navigate using 4 and 6. So you can go forward and backwards in the list. So you can use a combination of both these features, hiding applications and the list mode, or you can use just one or the other. It's really, it's really up to you. We wanted you to have the power to do it whichever way you wanted. The demonstration that Rachel did record for us will have a quick demo of how to do those things. Another feature that we know that is very well liked on the Victor Reader stream are the podcasts. So we wanted to do some improvements on the podcasts. Uh, the biggest thing that we did was you can now configure separately each podcast feed for how many episodes you would like to keep. So, the podcast feeds can be very different. You can have a podcast feed that updates once every week, once every month. I've seen some podcasts that are like 4 episodes a year, every 3 months. And then on the completely opposite of the spectrum, you have some podcasts that sometimes update every couple hours. I think I've even seen every hour. We have one big one here in Dominic will know who I'm talking about, but we have one here in Quebec who pretty much has like I think he releases 12 or 15 episodes a day. So for something that is, for example, related to the news, if it's a news podcast from CNN, for example, or Fox News, then that might be something that you don't want to keep 10 episodes because, what uses it to listen to news that are 2 days old versus, let's say that you're following a podcast on the history of automobiles. And this is something that is not really time sensitive. It is something you want to keep more episodes because it's content that's interesting to you. So you can now decide that you want to keep 2 episodes of one podcast and 10 episodes of another. This is once again something that Rachel will show in her demonstration. You can also configure the frequency of check for updates for all podcast feeds. So it used to be every 30 minutes or after every boot. And now you can configure it to be more often or less often. If you only follow some podcasts that, update weekly, then it might not make sense to check for updates every 30 minutes. Maybe you want to check for updates every 2 hours, for example. We have also done some improvements on the performance of the podcasts, the way that it checks for updates, so that it lessens the impact on the system when an update is ongoing. So we really only uh, check for new episodes and we don't have to parse the whole thing. So this helps in terms of the performance. Another thing we did was the download manager. So this is a feature that we had on the Stream 2 where you could go into the settings menu and cancel all downloads. That was the only thing you could do. Here on the Stream 3, it took a little while before we could get it on, but now we have that ability as well. But you can also cancel individual downloads and you can reprioritize some downloads. So, if, for example, you're subscribed to a lot of podcast feeds, but there's one in particular that you'd like to listen to quickly, but it's the 10th one in line, you can go to it, press the number 3 key, and choose download next, I believe. Again, Rachel will have a demonstration of that, and it will be put on top of the queue to download the next once the current download is finished. So, to allow you to listen to it quicker. Another really cool feature that we've implemented that was due to the feedback that we got. A lot of people were telling us that it would be great to have a quick demonstration, a quick sample of the voice before you have to download it. So now when you go to your settings, to your language menu, and you choose download new voices, once you hear the name of a voice, for example, if you hear Sharona, if you wait 1 or 2 seconds, you're going to hear a small, about 20-second sample of the voice. And that'll work in every language if you're curious. So if you want to go listen to what the German voices sound like or what the Norwegian voices sound like, you can go into the menu, just go to a Norwegian voice and listen to the sample. So it is pretty cool to, I will say the French, like the French voices are my favorite, but I'm a little bit biased there. But yeah, so you can listen to the sample and then decide if you want to download the voice or not. So that is a very cool feature that we've introduced. Just give me one moment. I just realized I think the chat is not open. I will open up the chat in case there are any questions for the end of the webinar. Let me just do that right now.
Well, there's had been a couple of questions which I already answered, so it must be
Oh,
open.
okay. Um, all right. So, other features that we've introduced. So we've introduced the ability to play M4. Well, we already had the ability to play M4B files. So those are a certain type of audio files, but now they can be navigated by chapters if they're marked up properly. So similar to the chapters feature that we've introduced for podcasts in the previous version. A long press of the 9 key will bring up Bluetooth, saved Bluetooth devices to connect to them faster. So if, for example, you've paired your stream to 3 or 4 different devices in the past, well, you can now boot up, press an old 9, and then it will give you your list of saved connections, and then you can choose to connect to your Alexa speaker, your Aftershocks headset, or whatever it may be that you've saved in the past. So it is a bit quicker than having to go through the settings, through wireless, etc., to go to the Bluetooth menu. We've implemented the support for eBraille files. So the eBraille format is a file format that we co-developed alongside with APH. And while there isn't a whole lot of content right now with eBraille, there will be a lot coming in the future. So the stream can now read eBraille files. We now support the My Assigned Books list in Bookshare. So this is something that's used mainly in education, where a teacher can assign reading assignments to students. So the students can now go into My Assigned Books and download the books directly from there. Another change we've added that is a smaller impact for most countries, but a big impact for certain countries is non-Latin and accented characters are now accepted for SSIDs. So it used to be that previously, when you entered an SSID, that's your Wi-Fi network name, you could only enter letters A through Z and then numbers. Now you can also enter characters from different alphabets in Arabic, for example, or in Cyrillic for Russians and Ukrainians. So this is a feature that was requested by some people in some of those Middle Eastern countries and so on. We've introduced the ability to copy all notes at once. So if you have a lot of notes in the folder, you can decide to copy all the notes instead of having to go one by one. Still related to notes, we've introduced the ability to read 3GP notes files from older stream. So if you have an SD card with older 3GP notes from a Stream 1, for example, then you can now put it in the Stream 3 and read those notes. We're almost done in terms of the new features. There's a lot in this version. We're really happy about it. The idle timer, which used to be 30 minutes, is now configurable. So that's the time of an activity before your stream either shuts down or goes into suspend mode. So you can now set it to be shorter. You can set it to be 15 minutes, or you can set it to be longer. If you don't want your stream to automatically shut down after like 30 minutes, you can decide it's an hour or 2 hours or whatever you want. The Bluetooth controls are now enabled, so the play, pause, fast forward, and rewind from Bluetooth headset and speakers that have those physical buttons will now work. Anything that supports AVRCP, which is the protocol that's used to send those commands, the rewind, fast forward, play, pause, will work. It's the first iteration, so there is a possibility that some Bluetooth speakers or headsets might not work 100%. But from our testing, we found that a good number of them did work properly. And then lastly, in terms of new features, connecting a Bluetooth keyboard will now allow you to enter text using the keyboard in text entry fields. So things like a Wi-Fi password, a search for a book that you want to search for a certain author or a certain book title. So currently, we only support the US standard QWERTY keyboards. But in future versions, we'll introduce more configurations for example, for in some European countries use AZERTY. And then we will also introduce the ability to control fully your stream using the keyboard. So you'll be able to play, pause, rewind, insert a bookmark, go to using a Bluetooth keyboard if that's what you want to do. So we know that for a lot of people, the T9 text entry can be a bit difficult. So hopefully using a Bluetooth keyboard can help get across those hurdles. And then we have a lot of bug fixes, a lot of things that we fixed. We fixed issues with some Braille books on Bard. We fixed some issues when moving multiple podcasts. So I'm not going to go through those, but we did do, as we always do with each one of our versions. For those of you who have been with us since version 1.0, you know how much the stream has improved from version 1.0 to what is now version 1.6. So, as always, it is our focus to try to find all of the bugs, squish them, and give you the best experience possible. So I will now share my screen so that the sound can come through, and we will go through a quick demonstration from our friend Rachel, who was kind enough to pre-record this before her travels. So let me just share here, include sound, and here we go.
Hey everybody, and welcome to this demonstration of the new features in VictorStream version 1.6. My name is Rachel Ramos, and it's my pleasure to do these demonstrations for you that will accompany the webinars that Mathieu Paquette, our exemplary VictorStream product manager, will be providing to you. The first feature I want to demonstrate is the refactoring of the bookshelf. So for a long time, VictorStream has had the bookshelves in the rotation that you needed to press key 1 in order to access each bookshelf. Now we've introduced a new setting where you can set it to list mode, which means you will be able to navigate the bookshelves simply by pressing key 1 and then press keys 4 or 6 to navigate through the various items. I'm going to go into the menus now and show you where you can set that up. So I'm going to start by pressing key 7.
Menu, no local settings. General settings.
This is where we want to be in general settings, so I'm going to press confirm or the pound key.
Language.
I'm going to press key 4 to get to this new setting.
Bookshelf navigation mode, rotation.
Now it's set on rotation, which is the default behavior. If I press confirm,
Bookshelf navigation mode, list.
now it's set to list. So I'm going to press key 1 to exit the menu.
Leaving menu, references. NLS barred.
So you hear that it went to NLS barred, which is the next item in my bookshelf list. If I press key 6 again,
Podcast.
here's podcast,
NFB newsline.
NFB newsline, and so on. I can also press key 4 if I'd like to go backwards.
Podcast. NLS barred. References. TuneIn radio.
Now, any of these bookshelves that I want to enter and see what's in here, I can simply press confirm.
TuneIn radio. Search TuneIn stations.
And this brought me to TuneIn Radio, where I can search the stations. So this style of navigation makes it very easy to quickly find the bookshelf that you want, and then simply press keys 4 or 6 to navigate the items in that bookshelf once you press confirm to choose it. The next option that I'd like to show you is the ability to hide various applications. If you find that you don't use the references option, for instance, or NLS barred, or any of these services that you can add to your stream and you'd like to hide them from the menus, you can now do that for a cleaner experience. So I'm going to press key 7 and we will hop back into the menus.
Menu. Reauthorize.
This gives me an option because I'm in a various bookshelf. I'm going to press key 7 again.
General settings.
Here's general settings, which is where we want to go. So I'm going to press confirm.
Language.
And I'm going to press key 4 to get to the hide applications option.
Bookshelf navigation mode, list. App toggle menu.
This is called app toggle menu, and I'm going to press confirm to go in here.
Podcast, on.
So it said podcast is on. If I'd like to hide that, I can simply press confirm to do so. I'm going to press key 6 to go to the next service.
Internet radio, on.
Now let's say that I wanted to hide the internet radio from my applications list. I'm going to press confirm.
Turning off this service will delete all associated content. Press to confirm or any other key to cancel.
So it asks if I'd like to delete this service, and if I do, it will remove any associated content. So I'm going to press confirm to continue.
Internet radio, off.
And now it's off. So when I go through my menus, which I'm going to do, I'm going to press key 1 to get back to the bookshelves.
Search TuneIn stations.
So I'm back on my TuneIn radio bookshelf, and if I circle around, you'll see that internet radio is no longer present.
NLS barred. Podcast. NFB newsline, bookshare. Daisy online. TuneIn radio. References. NLS barred. Podcast.
So, and you can do this with any number of bookshelves. If you have other services like NLS Bard or Bookshare, you will want to remove those credentials first, and then you can hide those bookshelves as well. The next refactor that I'm very excited to show you is our new download manager. A lot of what we spend time doing on the stream is downloading content from various sources and enjoying that content. So we wanted a way to make this experience a bit more efficient and streamlined. So to get to this download manager, I'm going to press and hold 3. And just a quick note, you'll want to be on your online bookshelves area to do this.
Download Manager 12.
Tech stuff. The future is battery powered. The story.
Podcasts. Queued for download.
So I'm on the 12th option here, and let's say that I want to move this up in the list. So if I press option 3.
Cancel download.
So I have the option to cancel the download. I'm going to press key 3 again.
Download next.
I can download next. So if I want to move this up in the order, all I do is press confirm.
1.
Tech stuff. The future is battery powered. The story.
Podcasts. Queued for download.
And now instead of being option 12 in the list, it has moved to option 1. So I can prioritize episodes or article content into the order that I would like to have them downloaded. I'm going to press key 3 again, and we'll go through some more items in the download manager.
Cancel download.
I can cancel the current download.
Download next.
Pressing key 3, I can get to download next.
Cancel all downloads.
I can cancel all of the downloads.
Cancel download.
And we're back to cancel downloads. So this is navigated by a simple press of key 3 once you are in this download manager. And this gives you the ability to reorganize your downloads and make it so you have the content that you'd like to listen to more immediately at your fingertips. So I'm going to now press the cancel key or the star key to exit the manager.
NLS barred.
And now I am back on my bookshelf list. We've also made some adjustments to podcasts in terms of changing how many episodes you can get per feed and how often the stream will check for an updated podcast. So I'm going to show you how to check those options. I'm going to navigate to my podcast bookshelf.
References. NLS barred podcast.
I'm going to press confirm since I have it in the new list mode to enter this bookshelf.
Podcast 19. Podcast feeds. 1.
Applevis Podcast.
2. New episodes.
Now here is the Applevis podcast, and it's telling me that there are 2 new episodes, which I can download. I'm going to press key 7 to go into the podcast on a local menu.
Menu. Humanware podcast suggestion. English. Downloaded podcast episodes to keep. 3.
So I've pressed key 6 to get to this option. So right now it's telling me that I can keep 3 episodes. But let's say that I really enjoy this podcast and I want to make sure that there are additional episodes. So I'm going to press confirm to go in this submenu here.
3.
Here is 3. If I press key 6.
4. 5. 6.
So I could tell the stream that I would like to keep 6 episodes of the Applevis podcast. If I want to decrease that number, I simply press key 4.
5. 4.
And then to confirm my changes, I will press the pound key.
Selected. Downloaded podcast episodes to keep. 4.
So now I have adjusted the number of episodes that I would like to keep. Now, while I'm still in this podcast menu, I'm going to press key 6 to go to the next new option.
Podcast update interval. 30 minutes.
This is podcast update interval. It is set to 30 minutes. I'm going to press confirm.
30 minutes.
So at this point, the stream will check for new podcast episodes in this feed every 30 minutes. I'm going to press key 6.
1 hour. 2 hours. 8 hours.
So if I would like to spread out the process of the stream checking for updates and maybe not have it do it so frequently, I can navigate with keys 4 or 6 and choose the number of hours I would like. I'm going to press confirm. Let's say that I would like this to check for every 8 hours if there is a new podcast feed.
Selected. Podcast update interval. 8 hours.
And that's all there is to it. So you can simply navigate into your podcast menu when you're on the podcast bookshelf, and you can do this for each podcast feed. So if you want 4 episodes of one and maybe 6 episodes of another, this is very simply done by pressing 7 once you're on the feed of the podcast that you would like to change. And then you can update the podcast interval simply by navigating to that option within the podcast local settings menu. The last enhancement that I would like to show you that we've added to version 1.6 is the ability to quickly pull up a list of Bluetooth devices that you have previously connected to and then choose one from the list. To do that, you hold down key 9.
Bluetooth audio devices. Rachel's AirPods.
And this pulls up a list of devices. It's showing me that I have my AirPods listed if I press key 6.
Soundcore 2.
Soundcore 2, that's a speaker.
Rachel's AirPods.
And I only have those 2 devices, and you can navigate them by pressing keys 4 or 6. To choose the device, you simply press confirm. So these are some of the new features present in version 1.6. A lot of these have been shaped by your feedback, so we thank you for contacting us and letting us know what you would like to see in a future software version. Matthew, back to you.
You're muted, Mathieu.
You are completely right. Rookie mistake. So that was Rachel's quick demo that she recorded for us. So a big thank you to Rachel if you listen to this recording. So yeah, so that on our end, this concludes all of the new features that are on the Victor Reader Stream 3. As Rachel mentioned at the end of her video, a lot of those features are shaped based on the feedback that we get directly from you guys. Some of the feedbacks that you call in, you send us emails, you post on different mailing lists. I've seen some feedback on Reddit. There's a blind subreddit that I do visit very often. There are some groups on Facebook. So all of that feedback is very, very useful for us when it comes times to develop some of these new features. With that being said, since this concludes my part of speaking for too long, it brings us to my favorite part of these webinars, which is hearing from you guys. So, as I've mentioned at the beginning of the meeting, I'm the product manager for the Victor Reader Stream. We have with us Dominic, who's been with Humanware since ancient times, and is the father of the Victor Reader Stream. So any questions that you might have, we'll do our best to answer. We might not be able to answer everything, but we will be happy to answer most of your questions. So if you have any questions, you can raise your hand. I see a few people already did it. You can ask it in the chat if you prefer not to speak on the webinar, or you can use the Q&A feature. On this note, I will stop the recording now and say thank you for everyone. If some of you want to drop and not attend the Q&A, that's perfectly fine. But we'll start taking questions now.